Hey there. Welcome back to the Fanboy Cantina. Great to have you here this evening. Great to see you, Mr. C. How are you doing?
Feeling good. Good to be back, getting back in our groove. We're here second week in a row to do business, and I'm all about it. I'm happy to be here.
Very nice, very nice. So if you're watching live, post in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. If you're watching later, post in the comments because we would love to continue the conversation. So Jim Campbell says, let's do this. And Junkyard says, here we go.
Campbell says, "Let's do this." Here we are to do this. And Junkyard, let's go.
All right. So, in this week's episode, this evening, we've got a few things on deck. We've got uh, the Ms. Marvel episode one, we've got the Black Adam trailer, and Obi-Wan Kenobi episode four. So, let's figure out where to start first. Let's talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi episode four. There are two episodes left. What did you think of episode four, Mr. C?
Well, putting it in context of 4 out of 6, I think we're just exactly in the right place. Uh, flawless episode as far as I'm concerned. If we're talking about the script, the action, keeping things in motion, if we're talking about McGregor's acting, if we're talking about any of the other actors, but particularly young Leia, she's not playing around. She's doing job. She's doing business. She's in there. I was just completely on board with all of it. What's your glance over read on it?
Yeah, the series is okay.
Ah,
The series is okay. We talked
we've
about it
entered some
last week.
Siskel and Ebert territory where there's a bit of a
Yeah, I feel like
divergence
it's
of
going to be
opinion.
that kind of night. Yeah, the series is okay. As we said last time or last week, there was a time where there was just three movies and that was it. Or if you count further out, there were three movies and then a couple of kind of TV movies and the holiday special, and then that was it. There was no more Star Wars. So I am grateful that there is still Star Wars. The Kenobi series is good. It's good. Yeah. Should we expand on this further?
All right, let's do some expanding. For opening, right? He's recovering from the fight, so they stick
Yeah.
him in the what? How do you call it?
The back to tank.
Back to tank.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's freaking out. But then the way they were cutting back and forth, so there's showing Vader, Anakin in the tank, showing Kenobi in the tank. So like, who made who? You did this to me. I did this to you. Showing the because of their fight, they're both in the same circumstance, but not at the same point in time. So I thought that was really cool, just the way they were cutting back and forth. What was your take on the presentation on the
Well,
back?
I think yeah. So I could speak to that and maybe expand on why I thought it was only okay. For me, this episode felt very short and very rushed. It was maybe a half hour thereabout if you don't include the credits and the runtime. But it was a very short episode, and in many respects, throughout this one, I felt like it was rushed, where they could have spent a little bit more time telling the story. It could that back to tank experience have been, since now with the rise of with the the rise of Skywalker, the return, the that connection that one can have across the Force, it would have that could have been an interesting intersection or connection between Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. That could have been interesting. There were other parts in this show, in this particular episode, where it again it felt rushed. For example, we see they escape. Tala and Kenobi escape. We see the members of the not the resistance, the rebellion here, or the beginnings of the rebellion, and we don't get to know them at all. It's just like boom, okay, fuel up the ship. I gotta go. Let's keep going. It
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. And so the consequence of that, there's not the beats, the time to get to understand those characters, such as, with Ice Cube's son, who forgive me, I don't remember the name of the character.
I didn't even know it was Ice Cube's son, but hey,
It's
that's
Ice Cube's
cool.
son. Yeah. So he mentions that his wife was Force sensitive or a Jedi. They found her, but then and so he's initially reluctant to support, and then boom, like within seconds, he's on board again, or he's on board as supporting. We don't get to know the snowspeeder pilot or the pilots at all. There's Wade, and then the other one, Wade. All we know from I think his sole line is Fortress Inquisitoris, and that's it. And so when he dies later, and apologies if this is spoilers, but when he dies later, you could have we could have invested a little bit more time to understand that character. So, so with the back to tank that you were just speaking about, yeah, it was fine. It was good to that duality between the two characters. But throughout this episode, I felt that it was very rushed. Oh, and Chai Star G says, let go."
Wouldn't be an episode if we didn't get a let's go.
So I'm looking at
Oh, go ahead.
I was just looking at my other notes before I toss it back to you. So I talked about how it's short. Yeah, I thought also that some of the visual effects looked funny. This
Yeah.
one was heavily influenced by Fallen Order because you've got that fortress, and much of the experience of Kenobi swimming into the fortress.
He
That's
was
out of
full of
Fallen
water.
Order. Yeah, yeah. And when and there's the fight in the corridors with apparently not very good. They could at least invest in tempered glass or something a little bit thicker. I don't know. That moment with the cracked glass, that's also out of Fallen Order, except it's Vader that closes it up in the game. Um, but there were other parts where the visual effects, where the ship is coming in, or when the ship goes into the other ship and then takes off, just looked a little funny for me, and it kind of took me out of the show.
I didn't get taken out of the show, but to give credence to your point of things being rushed, I would say, were there more time or more flushing out of plot points and more development? The bit on the ship where
Mhm.
they're approaching to come rescue Leia, he's trying to do his Jedi mind tricks, telekinesis, or not really telekinesis, but it's the same thing as telekinesis. So, and he not a lot of juice in the battery right there when he's trying to pull the object closer. I don't know if that was the communicator,
Mhm.
whatever it was. And then not too much later, got the lightsaber out, chopping stormtroopers down like they were red shirted Star Trek officers. And so I enjoyed seeing the choreography. I enjoyed seeing Ben take it to the Empire,
Mhm.
but like 1 minute not so strong, powers aren't there, and the next minute we're full on peak top of our game. So then maybe they're going to say, or maybe there's a condition that doesn't need to be playing out on screen, but maybe the condition is that for Vader, he freezes up more or feels less confident, less able, less practiced to manipulate the Force. And then for your goons who are easily dispatched, he's building up his confidence on the lower level foes to defeat. So we'll see what happens in 5 and 6. But I maybe a little rushed. Maybe things could have been flushed out a bit more.
Yeah, yeah. I feel as though when we're watching the series, it's a fairly simple story. I had expected maybe there would be more here, more out of this series. But it's about all about it, the retrieval of Leia, which is fine. Which is fine. You don't need to necessarily cram a lot, but in terms of the substance, it seems kind of narrow. In the chat, Junkyard says, The whole Obi series suffers from budget stinginess. Most of the new Marvel TV series have similar level of CGI as in the movies. I think that's a valid comment, and it seemed especially glaring in this episode compared to the other ones. We're going to talk about Ms. Marvel in a moment, and that's right up for me. That was right up there with an MCU film. This one, yeah, I agree with that. Um, well, other thing. Oh, just about Kenobi. It is it is his series. So what what you said, where he is struggling with the Force and now starting to build up. This series seems to be doing an adequate level of delivering on that, right? Where he's disconnected from the Force, disillusioned. It's been 10 years since the fall of the Republic and the Jedi Temple. So now he's getting in touch with the Force. I assume by episode 6 that he will get in touch with Qui-Gon, all of that, and now he's full on into back into full Jedi mode. Um, yeah, so as an arc, for him, I think it's okay. I think it's doing okay.
We had just very, very few minutes of tiny young Luke horsing around over the doorway. We've had a lot more screen time to Leia, a smidge of screen time towards Anakin Vader. And so I would hope that Qui-Gon would get also some bit of a cameo kind of an appearance. I'll say for visuals, I don't know if this specific scene would fall into your CGI critique, but at least the design of it, where all the TIE fighters were in like their dock where they're hanging from a an overhead hook and ladder system. I thought that just looked really neat. I hadn't seen that before. How do TIE fighters come and go? Well, clearly not like Buck Rogers or Battlestar Galactica. They're not launching out of a tube. So I thought that was, I'm like, wow, that's a real neat visual on the TIE fighters storage area.
Well, we have a question in the chat, Mr. C. What's with the God voice? Yeah, so there is a little bit of a of a reverb of some kind
Let me
in your audio.
Put that there.
Um, but so I hear you on that. I hear you on that was cool. Seeing the TIE fighters hanging like bats from the ceiling. That's different and cool. But when in that moment where Obi-Wan and Leia are trying to escape by hiding in a coat with Leia in a coat. Oh, okay, yeah, it's like what is this? Yeah, it's like an episode of the Brady Bunch or something.
Well, but that was the 2 out of 3. So first you had, it's the old shut the door trick, which we've seen a couple times before in not just Star Wars, but in lots of things. Then, now here comes the old hide the person under the coat trick, which was followed by the old, the cavalry's going to show up, but this time the snowspeeder cavalry is going to show up. So it was like 3 in a row of pop, pop, pop of maybe tropes is a fitting word for it. But so anyway, yeah.
But with the same scene with the cool TIE fighters were in that big hangar, there's an element that again it was something that took me out of the series or out of the show. They are caught. They have been caught by Reva with the lit lightsaber. They are approaching, and then like in the background, there's just like stormtroopers walking around. They're just still walking around. It was like NPCs from a video game. It's just
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like I would be focusing on General Kenobi and the gang right here. Not, I'm on my break. I got to get a sandwich. I didn't understand it. The visual effects, as Junkyard said, yeah, it just seems a little bit, yeah. Jim Campbell asks, so is Ben ever going to address Leia being force sensitive? Is he worried her dad might realize who she really is?
See, Campbell is the king of the good questions. I would rate this as a standard Campbell good question. I don't have a real answer. I'm going to say not until is he a force ghost? Will he ever converse with Leia about these things? What's your speculations, toward
I wonder about that too. I wonder about that too, because with the original trilogy, right? We get that reveal in Empire Strikes Back. Oh no, there is another. That happens,
right.
as though they're focused on Luke. Yoda and Obi-Wan are focused on Luke, but not on not on Leia, who seems to have more. At least is demonstrating. I'm Obi-Wan is right there, and he can see it. I assume so. Maybe pay attention more.
Yeah, and this brings us back to the thing we said about either the when last we met, the
Right.
learner and the master, and help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. So it's tough once you've painted in a little bit into the corner, how to get your way out of the corner. Maybe we're in that territory again. Eh,
Yeah. Yeah, no, and yes, yeah, the stormtroopers walking around as part of the Star Wars game. Yeah, and yes, you can even see in episode 4 in A New Hope where the stormtrooper bonks his head into the wall. Yeah, so I suppose that is fair. Um, I still am enjoying the series. I do feel like I need to just suspend a bit more from time to time. It I am looking forward to where this may end. I'm very interested in the explanation of the this fortress being a tomb. What is going on there? What is the Empire doing with all of these force sensitive people? How is that being used? Yeah, so I am interested in where that goes. I am interested in Qui Gon. I am interested in what are Reva's actual motivations? Is it truly just to get closer to Vader, or is there something else? Is there a turn that may be happening? Is there some other dimension of why she's so fixated on hunting Kenobi? And yeah, is there something else there? Last two things I'll say is I got a really long list. It would be nice to see Hayden Christensen
yeah, like his own.
like his own face. Yeah. I think that was him way in the distance in episode 2. I think that was him. Can't really tell. It would be nice to see him, maybe a Clone Wars flashback of some kind.
I don't really know. I think it's him in the Vader suit, but I
Yeah.
suppose during sword play, it could be a stunt person. So yeah, but be real good for Hayden Christensen to get uh, some well deserved good screen time.
Yeah, yeah. It would be great to see him physically there. You see his face. Oh yeah, I got one more jerk comment about this show. So they're talking about the Fortress Inquisitorius, and one of the comments, Ice Cube's son, is describing what they know about it, and they said, "Well, we don't know what it is, but it includes a we think it has it's a full blown fortress, and it has a training facility and everything." That's like saying the Pentagon has a good gym. Like, okay, probably not my top five.
Little script edit you have there. A little. Can we rewrite this just a touch, smidge?
I mean,
Spit this up a little.
in level
A
of
little polish on that.
priorities, it has a good gym. Okay, all right. I don't know.
I'll write that one off to all ages, family friendly, and for younger viewers. That's
Yeah.
not poor scripting. So
Hmm.
I'll leave it right at that. For my closeouts,
Yeah.
and then we'll jump
Yeah. Yeah.
to the other house of Disney, or one of the other houses of Disney. Seeing Vader put the force choke on the third sister,
Mm.
just enjoyed that just a little bit. Of course, she talked her way out of it, showing she's got some chops as well. But that also set up then for, well, how are they going to find him? Well, the tracker. So let's see how the chase comes to episode 5.
Yeah. See, the Pentagon has a good Subway sandwich. Who would have
That is
thought?
important to know.
Yeah.
Next week's episode dedicated to the Subway sandwiches out of the Pentagon.
Yeah, we complete. At least I completely neglected talking about the Leia Riva interaction. That I did like that. I did like that. It helped to make Riva that much more scary, maybe a little bit more cartoony in how scary she is. But I did enjoy that where she's like, she just wants to throttle
The
poor little
kid
Leia.
the kid held her chops. She
Yeah,
held her own. She stood her ground.
yeah.
And then now this part I'm on board with the writing and the display of everything. So, right, you got to be a little bit scary, but not overly scary. It's a kid actor. There's kids in the audience, so nobody's going to come rescue you. I think they played that just right where it was child partially scary, but not like full on horror of
Mhm.
no one's coming for you. Bad things are going to happen to you. It wasn't a nightmare generating setup.
Yeah, yeah. Jim Campbell says, yeah, Inquisitor with the bowl on it. I think he's the fifth brother. His great scene stealer. Yeah, yeah. I'm liking all of the Inquisitors. Really.
Yeah. I could use some more of Bullhead guy too, though.
Yes. Um. Oh, okay. And we do need one. I was hoping that the Death Star would come into this thing. I actually looked up this thing in A New Hope. Darth Vader says you should not have come back, and that is on the Death Star. So I I was kind of thinking that maybe the Death Star would show up in this series, but we only got two
Yeah,
episodes left.
back could have been just general back, not location specific. But hey, if they can squeeze in a Death Star, but we've just commented on the budget and the CG already, so I'm not going to put eggs in a basket for a Death Star.
Yep, yep. No. All right, so we've talked a lot about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is on Disney Plus, and we get two more episodes. The next one coming this Wednesday. So let's talk about the other new series that is running on Disney Plus, which is Ms. Marvel. And yeah, we can scoot over to the side here. Ms. Oh no, no, that's I gotta fix that one. So I screwed it up with the titles.
No, run
Mr.
the
C,
wrong one. Put the wrong one up there. Let's
uh, I'm gonna fix
replace
it.
it.
I'm gonna fix it. I'm fixing it right now. All right, so Mr. C, I really enjoyed this premiere episode. What did you think?
I'm all over it. Tonally, so very different from Obi-Wan, and tonally so very different. Yet the connecting tissue is there to the rest of the Marvel universe.
Hmm.
The visuals, the tone. I mean, this is a younger person's story, so the target audience is probably not us. I could relate to the parents a little bit, so
Hmm.
that's still an adjustment because I'm used to historically relating to your Peter Parker or your Scott Summers or your Warren Worthington, your
Sure.
younger characters, but those years are long gone by for us, so it's time to relate to the parents. What's your take?
Yeah,
There
no,
he is.
the parents. Yeah, you're right. I enjoyed the parents. I enjoyed getting to know the whole family in this new series. Um, I've read the analogies to that there are these my big fat Greek wedding vibes from the series, and I think that's right, and also a compliment too. I love that movie. I really enjoyed that movie, and with that movie, it does a great job of straddling the line between the comedy and the underlying story, but also you're introduced to this facet of culture. But it's done, I think, in an appropriate way where you're interested, you want to learn more, but it's not offensive or um, maybe there are. You are Greek, so I can ask you. I feel as though there was a reverence to the culture there, and of course the creator is Greek in my big
In
fat
Big
Greek
Fat
wedding.
Greek Wedding.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's legendary. I mean, there was a big gap in time between the motion picture Zorba
Mhm.
and Big Fat Greek Wedding. So maybe it's a once a generation kind of a thing, but I'll keep watching that movie over and over again.
Yeah. Uh, another movie that that Ms. Marvel reminded me of is Bend It Like Beckham, which is a favorite movie for me. I absolutely love that movie. Uh, I have the soundtrack. I think it is one of the best soundtracks ever for a film. I would put in my top 10. Um, but that movie is excellent in that it's the same kind of thing. You have the underlying story, but then you're also learning. There's also the love story aspect, and then there's the cultural aspects. You learn about the Hindu faith as well. This story, the way that they're approaching it, it's got the Edgar Wright kind of vibes with the staging and how it's done. You got also some of the other analogous things like Shazam, or with the cartoons and others kind of stuff. But yeah, I really love the show. It's only one episode so far, but I really loved it.
I'm glad you pulled out Greek Wedding and Bend It Like Beckham, because those are definitely some of the DNA into this show.
Hmm.
I would say also young Kamala Khan has complete similarities to a new generation of Peter Parker. If somebody can't see the similarities between her and 60s Peter Parker, then I don't know what to say, because for the next generation, here's a new hero of the same structures. The whole thing, the family, they're in Jersey, they're let's just say around here in the Windy City, certain amount of Pakistani population, Indian population, Sri Lankan population, and people would be in the comic shop picking up Ms. Marvel as a relatable character. So she is exactly that, a relatable character. I only have very few of those comics. I'm pleased to get to know the character now as she appears on the Disney Plus.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm very excited. I definitely want to learn more. We don't get too much of a read on where the rest of the series is going to go, except for the end credit scene where you see that agent from No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, in that shot. So I assume we're going to be seeing more of that guy. But yeah, I really enjoyed this show. Oh, and the casting of Iman Vellani, I think is just, she seems to be spot on. I mean, here is a person who, even when she was 15, I think she's 19 now. So it's not like that much difference. But when
Well,
she,
15 to
well, yeah,
19.
I get you there. I get you there. In our in our ages,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. Yeah, that
Yeah.
ain't like that long ago. But yeah, if you're that age, yeah, it's a quarter of your life. In any case, she, as in her teen years, or when she was 15, got her own homemade Ms. Marvel costume. She's very much the character, a fan of the comics, a fan of the character. Yeah, this I'm all in for this.
So within the episode, sequentially and structurally, I liked how they grounded her in all the different environments. They grounded her. They gave a couple minutes to devote to the family and give a brief development to the family and place them in Jersey.
Hmm.
Then we have a little bit of high school life scenery and interacting with the counselor, and just the banter, the comic elements to it. It's not exactly John Hughes. It's got a different flavor than that, but it's got a great snapshot of who she is and how she's moving through life. And yeah, that is what people, oh, do I have to figure out my whole life before lunch? The trials and tribulations, a day in the life of a teenager in
Right.
the current era. Peter Parker had his chemistry set and a Steve Ditko haircut and glasses that were in a different way. Some things are universal across time, other things are specific to now. So it was real interesting. And then Avenger Con. Can we
Oh,
get an Avenger Con? So in Hawkeye, we had a Broadway depiction of Avengers in a musical, or the Avengers characters represented in a musical. So the Avenger Con looked so fun and so great from so many different things. It was exactly like a comic convention, yet it was Marvel specific.
mhm.
Yet there were all these things that at least to my knowledge, haven't really been in a Comic-Con. And then you get the popcorn bit and the going through like the circus tent thing. So just all the different, that would be a good follow-up point, is for the art director and the design setup. Just like, how did they pick all the different things and integrate them into Avenger Con? That was a lot of fun.
That was I want to rewatch and stop frames because it was moving so quick across the different exhibits. That looks like a great time. I would go to that. I would
Yeah.
go. I, Last episode we talked about Star Wars Celebration. You and that's a thing, right? It's
Yeah.
just that genre, just that franchise, and they're able to make a 4-day event out of this with Avengers Con. Yeah, if it was just Marvel Con, yeah, I would come to that. I would love to see that. No disrespect to the DC franchise that we'll talk about in probably seconds, but
Right. They're
yeah.
going to get props in just a little minute here.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I agree with what was said earlier in the chat. Yeah, the visual effects, they have not cheapened out on it here. They worked
It
out.
is common now. It has been common, I guess, for the last 3 to 4, maybe more than that, years, for on-screen text to pop up in a show so we can follow the way we currently communicate as a world, as a society, to text. But the way the visual representation, so she's in her bedroom, she flicks on her spin around starlight, and then the text language graphically, visually, is up on the ceiling, and then cut to her friend Bruno, and his ugh reply doesn't just, it's not just like a bubble pops up on the screen, that to integrate ugh and the emoji into the as though it were painted into the street. That was really, really good stuff. I was just the innovations, the creativity they have with the visuals. I'm really liking it, and I hope they continue it.
Yeah, the style and the pacing is just brilliant. It was consistent throughout. I love the style. I'm a fan of the Scott Pilgrim movie. So you have some of those also that those visual elements showing up on the screen in this episode where the graffiti is changing and telling a story too. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. That's like different types of skill sets, really. Being able to marry the two-dimensional art into this show. Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
And it keeps the pace fresh, and
yeah.
it's all current. And it'd be interesting how it ages 10 years from now. Well, that's a long ways away to check back on it, but I'm liking it for how it goes for today. Other stuff I would comment on,
Mhm,
referenced in general, but now to a little more specific. So she wants to go to Avengers Con.
mhm.
Parents are conservative, they're not buying into it. But then they come around, and as parents do, come up with a few conditions. Here comes dad. He took the time, mom took the time to put two outfits together. And
Mhm.
dad, whether mom did it or he did it himself, took the time to get the green paint on. They're going to go big Hulk, little. And she's like, that's not a thing. And I'm so humiliated. And then she's sitting on the rooftop, which is a very Matt Murdock, Peter Parker, Daredevil, Spider-Man thing to do, is sit on a Marvel New York, New Jersey rooftop and have a conversation. I made my dad cry, not feeling good about it. I felt so bad for the dad. Like
Yeah.
his like he went in there like, woo-hoo, I'm the cool dad.
I think it landed differently for you and me because we're of a certain age. We would do that. I would do that kind of thing. I would. Maybe I wouldn't do the face paint because I don't like stuff on my face. I don't even like this beard on my face. But I would do that kind of thing. So I identified. Oh yeah, that wouldn't work out, would it? Huh?
Which is why the heartbreak of it was all too
Yeah,
real.
yeah. It hurt. It cut deep. It cut deep. Yeah,
So then
yeah.
going from that heartbreak to something that was more enjoyable, they're diagramming the plan to get out of the house. That
Hmm.
was taking the Jay and Silent Bob blueprint, but but elevating it beyond its wildest dreams. And then the before and after, the compare and contrast to how it really grabs the tree branch, the whole branch. But there was no loud crackle or anything that alerted the parents. She just hits the pile of leaves. And so that was all really, really fun. And within the disbelief, like somebody wouldn't really fall and hit the tree branch just that way. But given that this is the kind of story it is, it all worked out in the best of ways.
It needed a biggity bam. LaForce is down at the end. That's what it needed.
Maybe that's an episode 2.
That would have sealed the deal. All right. Anything else we should cover before we move to the Black Adam trailer, which I
Just
know.
my last other little observation at Avengers Con.
Yeah.
2 quick things.
Yeah.
See Giant Man's head rolling and Thor's hammer swinging. Again, those are both funny. But I'm like, oh, Giant Man, don't lose your head. And then the other Captain Marvel cosplayer, I didn't really recognize her from school. Maybe I need a third rewatch. But the hairstyle she had was reminiscent of mid-70s, late 70s Ms. Marvel at the time, before the Carol Danvers character was known as Captain Marvel. And that was right out of Dave Cockrum's design and pencil work, having that I don't know, feathered hair or the little flourish curl back over kind of hair move. So good to see that they're trying to, again, keep a lot of elements from the comics interpreted into the screen.
No, that's a good call out. That's a good call out. All right, so let's move to our next and I think our final topic, which is the Black Adam. Oh my goodness, I've been neglecting the chat. I feel real bad about that. So okay, thank you, Junkyard. This is now from like 10 minutes ago. That with the Beckham piece, Jim Campbell says, "Yeah, I haven't seen the show. Will Carol Dan? I don't know. I don't think we know.
I'm gonna go with not, but who really knows? That's we need a Samurai Toshu DC series for old schools. Oh, that's Samurai, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yep. Bing bong.
All right. Okay. All right. And when you, yeah. Okay. All right. We're still not doing the.
I don't think you don't have to get caught up.
All right. So the other big thing that happened this week is the reveal of the Black Adam trailer. And Mr. C, I'm going to hand you the keys here. I know nothing about Black Adam.
Well, let me tell you. Back in the day, Black Adam was just a straight villain and one of the top Shazam or Captain Marvel, as he used to be known. See, oh, look at that. I didn't even realize we're going from the whole Marvel name from Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, and the character now known as Shazam used to be known as Captain Marvel. Well, anyway, here's Black Adam, the singular most powerful of the Captain Marvel villains. So originally the way the story went was that the wizard known as Shazam gave the powers to Black Adam, and then he was corrupted, and that's why in the future the wizard sought out somebody pure of heart who was young Billy Batson. So that's the old story in bullet point or quick brief format. In more current times, the DC crew, the creative teams, shifted him from pure villain to anti-hero to make him a little more interesting. So I'll say he's got some similar structures to Magneto and some shades of Darth Vader also. So within the trailer from this screen grab, he's mentioning his son gave his life. So now we have somebody who's mad at the world for the loss of his son. As far as supporting cast and other Justice Society characters, here we have good old Remington Steele, good old James Bond in the role of Dr. Fate. Here's just look at the eyes. Just look at the eyes between them. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the Black Adam suit, and let's look at that compared to in the Shazam movie right? That lightning bolt was bright as could be, and
Mm.
now look at this one. So just for contrasting the costuming as is reflected in their personalities, instead of a bright and luminous lightning bolt, we've got some grit, we've got some maybe some muck, but we've got some mileage, some battle, some rough times displayed on the costume, and so goes the personality contrast between Black Adam and Shazam. But right here in this very shot, and now let's okay, so the wall in the background is broken. So that as trailers are supposed to get you curious, who broke through? Who put the hole in the wall? How did that get there? I'm going to figure it wasn't Hawkman's wings, but now here's a very golden metal interpretation of Hawkman. So he's looking differently here compared to how he looks in the comics. The character Aldous Hodge, the actor Aldous Hodge, who's playing Hawkman, I'm a touch familiar with him out of the show Leverage, which was a really, really good show, which the wife and me enjoyed a bunch. So it's interesting to see him get a very different role here as Hawkman. Here you have Atom Smasher, another Justice Society member who's comparable to Giant Man and Ant-Man, because Atom Smasher, the DC character, is also connected to the DC character of the Atom, the shrinking and growing powers. And then I really, really like this clip out of the trailer where he's, like you said, like kind of an Iron Man vibe, kind of a Top Gun Maverick vibe. We can't really see. I don't think that's Tom Cruise, but you can't prove it one way or the other. Telling him to head down, and then he just blasts his wing off. With the screen grab here, something I hadn't noticed during watching the actual trailer, but the characters on the helmet, well, it for sure doesn't say Iceman or Goose or Maverick. Doesn't. So I'll be curious if we get a translation during the movie of what's on this guy's flight helmet.
In the comments, has Black Adam ever had his own comic?
If he has, it wasn't a long running one. He made a good long run in the JSA, and clearly he's been the ongoing villain showing up in the Shazam books. Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Campbell, your question is the perfect opening for us to jump in. In the Jeff Johns authored run of the JSA book from the late 90s up to the early to mid 2000s, Black Adam was just that, an anti-hero character, somewhat similar to when Magneto had joined up with the X-Men as opposed to being their enemy. But then it was, oh, when's he going to turn? When's he going to go bad? Is he truly, is he a hero? Is he deceiving us? So this specific shot was a conflict that Black Adam had with Atom Smasher. And, well, clearly Atom Smasher might not be on the same power level as Black Adam, but clearly he can throw quite the punch in that situation. So, and that...
Can you smell what the Black Adam is cooking? The Kool-Aid Man made a cameo and broke the wall. Yeah,
that's
maybe beautiful. That's on the expanded.
Oh, yeah. So here was again some more of that run, and so depicting that here's Atom Smasher and other JSA characters holding Black Adam back, and you got your Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific and Dr. Midnight holding back Shazam. Again, sometimes the pictures get slightly out of order, but this is going back to the return of Hawkman. As we know, Dead is Dead was a thing in comics that existed for a while, but so after Hawkman was out, but then got revived, this was the prelude to the return of Hawkman. The point being that they're tying things to Egyptian things in the old times. And as I mentioned a little minute ago, it was way back in time that the Wizard gave the powers to Black Adam. And so going back to the time of the pyramids is when he went from being just a regular person to someone who the Wizard gave some powers to.
No, this is cool. This is no, this is really helpful. There's a comment. Migo Casual Crafter adds, Migo is coming out with the old school Black Adam this summer, so that's cool.
Crafter, thanks for being here. Of all the things I loaded, I failed to look. Well, next time around, I'll have some banter for Crafter in our screen images. But yeah, so see, Crafter, thanks so much. I could look around the corner here. So going back, I don't have. Here, let me clear the. Can you clear the?
Okay, I'll clear.
Riding a bike.
Amusing myself over here. Yes.
uh, uh, hey, no, okay, all right. So back in the day when the Warner Brothers store existed,
Okay.
I picked up Shazam. So I didn't pick up a Black Adam. I don't know if they had a Black Adam. So as the Warner Brothers store no longer exists, these guys are no. But now here's what I'm saying. I'm taking a shot at Warner Brothers for this. So I brought Superman along too for reference.
Oh.
So just look at the size.
Yeah.
I mean, why you got to make Shazam the little guy and make Superman? I mean, so yes, there was a big rivalry in sales before the character was absorbed into DC and all that. But anyway, point being, Superman and Black Adam have gone toe to toe many a time. Black Adam is a top powerful force to be reckoned with. And I'm sure Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to have us all smell what's being cooked in the kitchen of Black Adam.
Star G adds, DC to publish official DC EU prequel comics for the Black Adam movie. So that'll be good. That'll be a good read for me. This was helpful, because I thought the trailer was fine. It was good. Okay, so yeah, I recognized some of the actors in the trailer, but the title character I know next to zero about. So yeah, this is promising, and I would pick up those comics. I would probably pick up those comics and put it on the stack of other comics that I have yet to read. But I would at least go to the store to buy it and have good intentions of reading up.
I'm going to go fan cam for a minute here. And I got to okay, I'm going to take fan cam off. Anyway, like you said, it's not just riding a bike, it's a little different. So in the absence of that, again, a real nice Shazam, Billy Batson versus Teth Adam, and it's some good stuff.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I wonder how this is going to work with Shazam. They seem to be tonally very, very different films.
Talk about painting things into corners. So I hope. Well, I don't want to take too negative of a shot of how things went from episodes 4, 5, 6 to episode 7, 8, 9. But I hope there is some legit way to integrate the very different playful tone of the first Shazam movie when he will meet up with Black Adam.
Yeah, I would. That first Shazam movie feels almost like a perfect comic book movie. It dials it up a little bit on the horror side. May not be for everybody, but in terms of introducing a brand new character and telling an arc and making it really interesting, it's right up there for me. It's right up there for me. Yeah, if you've got the little kid little Billy fighting, it might be a little bit funny, but yeah, we'll see. I'm interested in how this all comes together.
Well, and again, the Captain Marvel at the time, the Billy Batson turns into the character now known as Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the time, him and Mr. Mind is a little worm. So there was also a lot of overlap in the culture between a completed comic book and the funnies pages, or younger, very friendly to younger audiences. Oh, he's going against the little worm. There is an entire episode of the Teen Titans cartoon where they have Shazam as a guest star, and the Titans are all going in, cutting up real bad on, we're going to fight a little worm. So again, the tone contrast though from a semi-comedic evil little worm against a character in some ways comparable to your Doctor Doom, your Darth Vader, your Magneto. Again, I look forward to, and I hope the writers' room gets together in the best of ways and puts it together, but it's also a long way off. So, I mean, we're
Yeah.
about to see Black Adam, but before we see him encounter Shazam in a Shazam movie, it's a long way off. So they have time to try to put it all together.
I think this is going to be a great ride. You know, Dwayne Johnson, the Rock, has been committed to Shazam for maybe not a decade, but a really long time. I think at one point there was a thought that he might be attached to Shazam, and so now we get to see the Rock in a proper superhero movie. That's all his own. Yeah, TriStar G says the Shazam movie. Yeah, it was a good origin story. So
I had just looked at, I think their channel is Heroes Reforged now, but they have flipped channel names a few times. But I'm talking Hector Navarro and Adam Hlavik and Augustine Rios. And they said that was their first ever YouTube show.
mm-hmm.
And they showed a clip of their younger selves holding microphones, passing the microphone back and forth, speaking on looking forward to The Rock being cast as Black Adam.
Jim Campbell asks, so do Shazam and Black Adam get along these days?
Oh, Jimmy, look at that. Look at that. Well, but see, that's the whole anti-hero thing, and that's the whole switch back and forth. Then in the storyline, they'll find a way to be at peace with each other and be together during their JSA run, and then something happens and they're back in complete distrust of each other, just like good old Charles Francis Xavier and Magneto.
Very nice. Very interesting. All right. Well, other things that we should cover. Did we miss anything? Have we covered Black Adam, the trailer, which the film comes out in October 21st?
I think we're good.
All right. So just quickly on other random things, Thor: Love and Thunder tickets I think come out on Monday. So if you're the kind of person that's right there and you want to get your tickets, it's some point on Monday. So be ready for that. I am watching The Boys. I watched episode 4 last night. The the first episode was uh, jarring and gross, and it's everything that you expect from The Boys. Episode 4, episodes 2 and 3, it kind of took me out a little bit. I think I was just watching it too late at night, and I was just tired. But episode 4 is pretty good. So
I'll stick to Stranger Things for now. My previous sampling of The Boys, it was not for me, and that's all right.
I understand that. I need to get to Stranger Things. It's kind of bad that I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. And again, maybe they didn't catch us live tonight, or maybe they were staying quiet in the chat. But it's not a show unless Blue Sasquatch shows up and asks us, "Is this live?" And it's always good when Mandarin refers to us as his homies. So again, if they catch us on the rewind, or if they catch us non-live sometime, that's fine. All of a sudden, that was easier to click than the other time that I couldn't click it. It is a little bit like riding a bike, but also not. So yeah, just glad to have Jim Campbell along for the ride tonight. Glad to have Casual Crafter and Junkyard and Shy Star. Always good to have some people around to add to the conversation.
Yeah, no, and if you are watching for the first time, whether it's live or in the replay, thank you for being here. We are trying to get back to a rhythm with the live streams. We took some weeks off because of other things happening. So hoping we can get back to a rhythm of some kind. And we appreciate the time with you all. All right. Any closing thoughts, Mr. C?
Again, glad to be back around again.
Yep.
And unless something funny, haha, not so funny comes around, we should be same Cantina time, same Cantina channel next Saturday night.
That sounds great. All right. Well, again, Thank you, Mr. C. Thank you, folks, for watching. We do appreciate it. If you could do us a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share it with your friends and family and other random people. We do love the opportunity to boost the signal of this channel. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a good night. This has been the Fanboy Cantina. Take care.